What's up, guys? Welcome to the Peer Review Podcast. My name is Caleb Davis, and I'm your host. I'm up a bit earlier than usual today. I wanted to make sure I got up and recorded before I started my day. That's been a little bit of a struggle as of late, this semester, really, with how early my classes and work have been. And then I'm on campus till like 5, 6 every day. So, making things work. I got class in about an hour, so I'm going to be kind of quick here. But before we dive in, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, follow me on X at CalebCD and on TikTok at Peer Review Podcast to stay up to date with all things peer review podcast related. I have a few takeaways from both teams in this game, but mainly going to be paying attention to the Lakers because the Hornets aren't going anywhere. They're not doing anything this season. They played a fun game, but not really too much to take away from them. So I'm going to start with the Lakers. I thought they came out with a very, very, very sloppy start. A lot of, I'm going to call them feel out turnovers. They had about 8 turnovers in the first quarter, 7, one of the two, but just a lot of sloppy turnovers. And they didn't turn it over for the entire, well, they did turn it over for the entire game, but they kind of toned it down in the second half. Like, they ended the game with 18 turnovers, but to have like 7 or 8 in the first quarter, I guess that's somewhat of a turnaround. But especially Luka, I thought he came out very, very sloppy. A lot of kick ahead passes were just way off, way ahead of the guys. And that's just a part of, learning to play with your new teammates, and especially the way that Luka plays. Like, he's always trying to make those super difficult outlet passes, super quick, like cross court, one handed reads. Like, it's just going to take time. Guys got to get adjusted to just being ready to catch a lot of his passes. But like that timing, positioning, speed, footwork, all that still work in progress. But you're not expecting it to be perfect coming out of the break, especially it's a brand new team. So I give them grace there. I thought LeBron looked very good, like right back in the form as right before All-Star break. I thought he came out ready, controlled the game. He had a quick 8, and he was just scoring pretty effectively all night. But I don't think he was forcing. I don't think he was forcing his offense, in my opinion. Excuse my alarm. But I don't think he was forcing anything, in my opinion, and that was kind of a good thing and a bad thing tonight. I thought he was one of the only ones that was deliberately trying to get Austin involved in the offense, like especially before he got ejected. Like, Austin only had 8, but LeBron was always, he come up court, catch the ball, run a dribble handoff for Austin, and immediately give it up to him and try and run a pick and roll, like setting up screens. That's kind of how Austin got a couple of his quick threes. And I think that's important because in these 2 games since Luka has been acquired, I have felt like Austin obviously was the one who's gonna have to take the back seat, but I feel like it's been too much. Like, I feel like they have him out there playing as the 4th, 5th option, and I think more so he should be the 3rd. Like, Rui's been getting a lot of touches. Kind of think that should be toned down a bit but that's just my opinion. But back to LeBron, I just thought he played. I thought he played pretty solid. I thought he was vocal tonight, like on both ends of the court. You kept hearing him through the broadcast, was calling for switches, calling for scramble switches, like when they'd have a small on a big in the post and he was in the corner. Oh, run, scramble, get back to my guy. Or like when a cutter was going, or telling Jackson Hayes to trap, like just different things. Being vocal, especially with AD not being there. He's kind of the one who has to pick up the slack on the defensive end and just as a leader on this team. And I thought he was doing a good job. But I also thought the Lakers were hit or miss all night on their defensive rotations. Like, LeBron was being vocal, doing his thing, but a lot of their small ball lineups, guys are just getting beat off the dribble, and no one's going to protect the rim, so that was making it tough. And they kept ending up with mismatches, like Gabe Vincent, for example. I don't know how he kept ending up on Yusuf Nurkic for the entire third quarter. The entire time the Hornets were going on that run, he kept getting matched up with him. It kept happening, a double and trap. And Yusuf Nurkic is a solid playmaker as a big. Like, he's not a good scorer or anything per se, but if he has a small on him in the post, he knows how to use his size to his advantage. think their defense looks so much better when they have not Jackson Hayes, excuse me, Dorian Finney-Smith out there. I still, I understand the reason Rui's starting. I understand everything that goes into it, but for them to maximize that potential with their lineup and their roster, I think DFS has to be starting out there with Luka and LeBron. Like even in games like tonight, like you just need that constant defensive presence. And you need a guy who's not score first out there. Like when you have Luka, when you have Rui, when you have Austin, when you have LeBron, like you need a guy who just kind of fits in a little more and is focused more on the defensive end. And I think JJ was way too reliant on small ball tonight. And I feel like that's gonna be a problem for the rest of the season because that's kind of his thing, but I I just thought he was too reliant on it. I think like the way Jackson Hayes has been playing as of late, like he should have got more than 18 minutes, especially over Alex Len, who like on a night like tonight he looked horrible. Like on both sides, like he provided like really nothing out there. He had a rebound in 10 minutes. That was about it. Still had a positive plus minus, but I don't think that was really indicative of how he played. But yeah, I just feel like Jackson he should be playing a little bit more, especially he wasn't having a horrible game. Like, but neither here nor there. Moving on, Austin, I kind of felt like his ejection like changed the momentum of the game. And just to talk about that real quick, I just felt like it was an overreaction from the refs. Like, one, it couldn't have come at a worse time. The Hornets were just starting that 17-1 run they were going on. I thought the ref was just way too quick to blow his whistle and kick him out, especially for a guy like Austin Reeves, who doesn't really have, like, that was his first ejection of his career. And, like, on a random Wednesday night, like, he was walking away. Like, I thought that ref overreacted, and that's been a problem for years. Like the refs just overreacting. Like he's frustrated. You missed a call, a blatant call. Like sometimes you just gotta let a guy talk a little bit. And especially like I get if he's in your face, like or running his mouth, but he's walking away. Like he said what he said. You teed him up. He's walking away. Let it be. You don't kick him out. But hey, what can you do about it? All right. A couple more points before I move on to the Hornets. I have it written here. You live by the three, you die by the three. And the tonight, I was telling my roommate, like I feel like the Lakers kind of reminded me of the Rockets a little bit back when they had Harden in the peak of his powers. When they were running that small ball with when they'd run PJ Tucker at the five specifically though, they spamming fast breaks, running the court, running the floor, and just shooting threes. And like the Rockets, it worked at times, but when the shots aren't falling and your offense stagnates, like it looks pretty rough. And you saw that tonight. Like the Lakers went 15 for 51 on threes, 29.4%, versus the Hornets at 34%. They were 18 for 53. So they just made a couple more. The shooting struggles though, like I thought Rui was getting wide open looks all night. All night. And that's gonna happen moving forward. Like he's just gonna have to knock him down. I think he will. He's been a really good shooter this season. Luka couldn't buy a bucket outside of a big three he hit late, and he had a big offensive rebound, but like he could not score. He couldn't hit anything, and that's just rust. Like he hasn't played in months. This is one that he's working his way back into a new team. He's got to play better, but he will. Like I'm not too worried about that. One more thing about like down the stretch, like LeBron was just insane. He had this crazy dunk on Mark Williams. And I don't know how a foul wasn't called. I thought the refs were just bad in this game in general. Like, there's no reason LeBron was driving as much as he did, and he only had what I want to say 2 free throws. Yeah, like as much as he was getting to the rim, dunking the ball, scoring in the paint, for him to only have 2 free throws, that's insane. I thought the refs were just horrible tonight on both sides, but more so towards the Lakers because like as much as they were getting to the rim, they were shooting a lot of jumpers, but LeBron specifically, like they were missing some calls. But what can you do? But yeah, I just saw LeBron look good down the stretch. He had a three. I had like a set play. They were down four coming out of a timeout, and the play kind of got the Hornets kind of they trapped LeBron, and it kind of threw off the action. But he ended up getting it back, and he shot like a standstill like three in Miles Bridges' face, cutting it to one, and then they foul. It's a 3-point game, and coming out of that timeout after the Hornets make the 2 free throws, the Hornets just played no defense. Like the Lakers really should have took this to OT. LeBron got a really good look at a deep three, and they gave him enough time to dribble, set up, and move a couple inches close, like to a closer 3-pointer. And it's a shot he can make, and he missed it. They get the offensive rebound. They get it back to him. He gets a tougher three, but still, like, it's a shot he can make. You live with it. It sucks to lose that game. But yeah, well, I guess as like a wrap up, fresh off the All-Star break with a bunch of new pieces, so it's not the end of the world. Like, I'm not really too worried about it. Luka will play better. Rui will shoot better. Austin won't be ejected. Like, I thought the lineups JJ was throwing out there were a little rough. Like, you can't, and I thought it was pretty obvious tonight. Like, you can't have Vando and Alex Len out there together. That pair like just tanked the offense. And that's why I also think like if you were to move DFS into the starting lineup, it just balances your lineups a little more because you can have Rui out there with like Vando and they can kind of play off each other a little better, or it puts more offense into your bench, which I think they'll eventually need to do. Like I've been saying since Luka, well, I've been saying that before Luka was acquired, but I just think DFS should be starting for this team. But in short, if they end up as like a 6 seed and they have to play Denver because of losses like this and the one to the Jazz right before the All-Star break, it's going to sting because these are the games you got to win. Good teams, you have to beat the bad teams. That's how you keep your record. That's how you control your destiny. But we'll see as the season kind of winds down. They have one of the hardest schedules remaining in the West as well. This is why it's kind of important to win these easy games because it's only going to get harder from here. But that's all on the Lakers. On the Hornets, real quick, they had the turnover problem too. They came out sloppy, but their turnovers weren't like they don't have new players or anything. They're just sloppy. Like they had 17 turnovers, but a lot of them were just missed time passes, off target passes. Like I don't remember. I want to say I think it was Josh Green. Like Mark Williams had, I think like Gabe Vincent, like sealed off in the post, and you just make the dump off pass to him, and it was just way like, and he was in the paint, and the pass was like damn near in the corner. Like, who are you throwing that to? It's just like a simple bounce pass. I don't know what, like stuff like that. Like it just was a lot of, but I thought LaMelo played really well. I thought Miles Bridges played really well. LaMelo, he got hot, especially coming out of the third. Like, he hit a bunch, like, back to back to back. Like, those one-legged threes. He had some really good passes. And he just plays he's so flashy, so much confidence. It's fun to watch, even though the Hornets are always losing. And it's hard for him to stay out there. But when he is out there, he hoops. And it's fun to see. Miles Bridges, he kind of kept them afloat. And especially during that 17-1 run that they went on to finish the third, I felt like he just kept hitting threes. He had how many threes? He was 5 for 11, which it felt like more, but I thought he was just doing a good job, especially when the Lakers like weren't closing out. We're kind of giving it to him, not really putting a hand up, like let it fly. He was doing it, and he was knocking them down. And then the defensive strategy kind of worked until it didn't. They came out the fourth and they were just trapping. Well, that's when kind of Alex Len was out there and Vando, like they were just trapping when the bad shooters were out there because you don't really have to account for Alex Len spacing in the corner. Like you're gonna live with that, or Vando in the other corner. Like that's not really something that scares you. And that's why I think having Austin Reeves out there so important, and it's also on him not to get ejected, but he's just another very good ball handler, shot creator, just shooter. So if LeBron or Luka is getting trapped, they have an outlet to throw it to who's not like, you don't really want Rui like creating offense from the 3-point line all the time. Like that's not Austin though, you trust. And it just, that is going to be the key to their offense, having those guys out there, because this team is all about their offensive feeling. And like that'll come around. Like I said, this was one of their first couple of games together. I'm not too worried about it. And then late game execution, real quick for the Hornets. Like I said, they defended LeBron horribly. Like they really that was bad, and they almost threw the game away. But it's for the Hornets. It was a good win out of the All-Star break. LaMelo makes them such a fun team, and I hope they can make a leap next season. Once Brandon Miller returns, hopefully he comes back a lot better. I really like him as a player, and yeah, they're a fun team to watch, and I wouldn't mind seeing them rise in the standings next year if they can get some pieces and the guys can stay healthy. But I wanted to quick shout out to Robert Ory. He's one of the Lakers like broadcast announcers during. I always hear him during the games. I just think he does a great job as an analyst. Like it's quality. Like even like his banter when he's going back and forth with the other analysts on the Lakers like sideline reporter panel. It just is good conversation. I think Robert especially is like very good at like talking through the game and explaining situations as they're happening, like live. And pointing out like key things. And I thought the thing that I always look for and like good analysts on TV, like it's okay to root for your team, but I think he's also pretty impartial. Like if another player like LaMelo starts hitting threes, like he's not gonna, bad mouth like oh wow, that was a good shot, or oh look, that was a nice move. That was like he just commentates on the basketball, which I prefer personally. But yeah, just a quick shout out to him. But that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Peer Review Podcast. Let me know your thoughts on Luka's performance, the Lakers' performance. Where do you see this team going? Was this scary? Like, what were your thoughts on the game? Let me know in the comments. But please share the podcast with your friends and family, as well as follow us on X at the new handle at CalebCD and on TikTok at Peer Review Podcast to stay up to date with my latest episodes and releases. This is the Peer Review. Signing off.